Greetings one, greetings all. My name is Paul Dayton. My website's pauldayton.us. I'm here to talk to you about a little bit of my second book, Socialism, the Gift That Keeps on Taking. I want to tell you a little bit today about, when we go through a lot of the junk that's out there, popular stuff, that is all substance, all style, but no substance. T-shirt slogans, unsubstantiated claims, things that that wilt when confronted with reality, with an actual, any sort of list of statistics or specifics from an episode in history, things that leave their audience able to just regurgitate T-shirt slogans like a pathetic religious person hundreds of years ago. Just reciting chants in the face of scientific proof and evidence, and then refusing to graduate to the language of proof and evidence as they attempt to answer the questions of life. And so, in my final section of this book, we talk about a specific guide in terms of going through that. And this subsection, is called The Fictitious Play World. And we're going to start here with a quote by Ed Channing, whose series on colonial United States, or North America, I guess, prior to the founding of the United States, I recommend to people, and from which I source much in this book. Quote, "Let not human arrogance assume to know intuitively, without observation, the tendency of the ages. Research must be unwearied and must be conducted with indifference, as the student of natural history, examining even the humblest flower, seeks instruments that may unfold its wonderful structure, without color and without distortion. For the historic inquirer to swerve from exact observation would be as absurd as for the astronomer to break his telescopes and compute the path of a planet by conjecture." End quote. I begin. As an old television commercial once lamented, where's the beef? The substance verifying the claims of shysters that their populist redistributive sermons will bring advancement to the masses and to society is alarmingly absent from their materials. Who is hoarding and concealing all of this evidence that illustrates the outcome of improved material quality of life for the masses, promised by the proponents of servitude solutions during their sales pitches? Why isn't there an equivalent mountain of evidence offsetting the examples presented within the legitimate inquiries into important matters, which are themselves teeming with actual outcomes of improvement? Why are writings touting the proponents of servitude schemes so bereft of evidence illustrating success and uplifting the condition of those presently lowest, while often comparatively rich in statistics designed to instigate and inflame envy within its readers? A fictitious play world is concocted by prevaricators as they contrive half-truths and outright fallacies in an effort to ride their wave of fiction into the land of power and riches for themselves, at the expense of both the masses and of the human race in its entirety. Those who speak only the language of T-shirt slogans, and who repel absorption of the language of evidence and proof as oil repels water, are people who are disinterested in arriving at correct answers. The word disinterested is quite different from the word uninterested, and that difference will be made plain for the reader. One who is uninterested in, let's say, a game of basketball will not alter their gaze or their behavior in any way as a result of the playing of a game of basketball. This person hasn't any interest one way or another. Conversely, one who is disinterested in the game of basketball will flee the scene at top speed, averting their gaze and covering their ears. This person is decidedly antagonistic with regards to the subject matter. Members of the intellectual lower class, it directs you to part 4 of the book to learn more about that, wishing to remain ensconced in the cocoon of their fictitious play world, evade the path of evidentiary consideration and of soundly based conclusions, as though it would make their arms fall off. Such people are disinterested in actually solving the problems which exist in this world. Such people are truly evil to the very core of their souls, as they would rather billions of people live existences which are needlessly worse off than necessary, simply because the original person will not permit their own advancement as a person, batting away evidence with their deflector shield words such as belief, view, and ideology, making certain that they go to sleep each night no better than they were when they awoke that day, and sentencing themselves to a lifetime of perpetual developmental stasis. I'm going to skip ahead a little bit here and just go ahead here with this example. One example refuting the assertion that a state-enforced monopoly will deliver greater outcomes for the masses, illustrating that commerce uplifts the masses, while competition both lowers prices and yields efficiency, can be found in the oil trade involving Russia, Europe, and the USA during the later 1880s. Competing firms, each seeking to enrich themselves, while personifying what some allege is, quote, market inefficiency, end quote, simply by competing and providing choice to customers, reduced prices and increased the available products available for purchase to consumers. Russian oil wells and refineries were within a 5 square kilometer region near Baku, while the USA had many spread all over. The average yield for Russia was 280 barrels a day. For the USA, a mere 4.5 barrels a day. For Russia, 80% of crude was produced by 14 integrated companies, while the USA had hundreds of producers. Professor Mendeleev estimated costs of producing crude in Russia to be 1/3 to 1/2 of the costs in the USA. Robert and Ludwig Nobel, from Sweden, set up a firm in Russia which manufactured approximately 33% of kerosene in 1888. The Nobels, after the initial run of their venture, invested new capital before long, a not insignificant factor, and began shipping in tank cars, used the first bulk steamers on the Caspian Sea, and initiated the use of continuous distillation process, which reduced operating costs. The Paris House of Rothschild also started a firm in Russia, theirs during the mid-1880s. Quote, the very fact that such well-financed firms as the Nobels and Rothschilds were attempting to develop foreign markets in competition, both with each other and with outside exporters of Russian kerosene, reduced prices to a level which made the product particularly acceptable, end quote. Note that Standard Oil in the USA was still a juggernaut at this time, about which more can be learned in Part 1, the Rockefeller section. And with that, I will end this little reading, this little preview of this book, Socialism, the Gift That Keeps On Taking. We start with a summary introduction, and then it's littered with proof after fact, after evidence, after data table, after real example with real life, real people, and real money. Disproving many of the t-shirt slogans so that you and anyone you know can speak the language of evidence and elevate the standard for ordinary. My name's Paul Dayton. My website's pauldayton.us, and I hope you enjoy your day. Thank you.